I was already on my porch that morning when the two cops came marching up my driveway like I had kidnapped someone inside my own living room. One of them shouted that I was trespassing on HOA land, while I was literally sitting on the porch I built with my own hands. And before I could even respond, Karen, the HOA president, stormed out from behind them like a raccoon in overpriced yoga pants and said, "Arrest him. He doesn't own this land anymore." That was the moment I realized my quiet life was about to turn into a damn circus. See, I bought this place because I needed peace. I'm 54, retired from real construction, hammer sweat-busted spine, not the clipboard kind. And after a messy divorce, all I wanted was a quiet stretch of land by the woods. 4 acres tucked behind old oak trees, a porch big enough for a hammock, and a trail that wound down toward the lake. I built the place myself. Every board, every screw, every stubborn damn hinge that fought me for half a day. This land was the first thing in years that felt like mine. And for a while it was perfect. Summer sunsets, cold beer neighbors who waved without wanting anything. Even that trail behind my land didn't bother me. Kids walked it, dog owners used it, teens cut through toward the lake, and I figured fine, let them walk. Peace is like that. You're happy to share it, until people mistake your kindness for permission. The first crack in the peace was small. A soda can by the brush line, then 2 cans, then a pile of trash tossed like party confetti right behind my trees. But the moment I found a used diaper sitting under one of my maples, oh, that was it. That was the line. A few days later, I heard teenage laughter, the sharp kind that tells you trouble is already happening before you even see it. 3 boys stood on the trail throwing empty beer cans into my woods like they were practicing their pitching. I told them to clean it up. The tall blonde one, of course he was blonde, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Relax, old man. Everybody uses this trail." "Trail's on my land," I told him. "Pick it up." He smirked. "My mom runs the HOA. We're allowed." That sentence right there. It was like hearing thunder in the distance. Not close yet, but you know the storm is coming. They picked up the cans, sure, but the blonde boy threw one last line over his shoulder. "We'll see about this." That night there was a knock on my door, loud, angry, impatient. Karen showed up, ponytail tight enough to pull her eyebrows back, eyes full of that HOA righteousness people like her wear like armor. Didn't even say hello. First words out of her mouth were, "Did you threaten my sons?" She planted her foot on my welcome mat like she was claiming the land on behalf of Spain. I explained what happened, and she rolled her eyes so hard I thought she'd strained something. "This trail has been used for 20 years, she said. "It's practically public access." Practically, I told her, isn't legally. That sentence changed her whole face. Something sharp snapped into place behind her eyes. She leaned in and whispered, "You have no idea who you're dealing with." Then she turned around, marched off my porch, and tossed her final warning into the night air. "Enjoy your peace while you have it." I didn't know it yet, but that was her declaration of war. The next mornings proved it. 1 beer can placed perfectly under my private property sign. The next day, 3 of them lined up neatly like a challenge. The third day, a scattered halo of cups, wrappers, bottles, all arranged in a 3-foot circle around my sign. Not random. Not careless, intentional, mocking. So that evening, instead of sitting on my porch with a beer, I went to the shed and pulled out a metal sign, thick, heavy, bold red letters. "No trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted." I set it in concrete so deep a tractor couldn't pull it out. My neighbor Jim saw me on the way back and warned me quietly, "You know who you're pissing off, right? That woman doesn't back down. She doubles down." He wasn't wrong. Next morning, I opened my mailbox and found a thick envelope with the HOA logo slapped across the front like it was a court summons. 3 pages of legal-sounding nonsense accusing me of blocking a community access route, threatening penalties, violations, and even civil action. And the kicker, they accused me of harassing minors. I had to sit in a lawn chair just to process how stupid it all was. But the real blow came when 2 cops showed up. Same serious faces, same tone like I'd robbed a bank. The older cop, Sergeant Dugan, stepped onto my porch like he owned it and said, "Take the sign down. That trail has been used for decades." No easement exists, I told him. It's my land. He didn't care. People like him never do. We get one more complaint, he said, and we can hold you for 24 hours. Disorderly conduct. Something inside me went quiet, cold, heavy, and for the first time since all this started, I doubted myself. Maybe I was making this bigger than it needed to be. Maybe I should just take the damn sign down. Maybe I should avoid trouble and let them walk the trail. But that doubt didn't last long because right when I needed it most, I called the one person who always answers, Tom Peterson, my lawyer, and the kind of man who hates bullies more than he hates missing a Sunday football game. He listened to everything and said, "Ron, get cameras. Good ones. They're counting on you not having proof when they do something stupid." So the next morning I bought 4 high-end outdoor cameras with night vision so sharp you could read someone's driver's license from 20 feet away. I put them everywhere. The trail, the porch, the driveway, the lake path. And when I sat down that night watching the live feed on my phone, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks: control. And I didn't have to wait long. The very next morning I got a motion alert. 2 men in HOA polo shirts walking straight down the trail with a crowbar. Not sneaky, not ashamed, not even looking around like normal criminals. They marched right to my sign, the one set in 40 pounds of concrete, and started prying it loose. The crowbar guy laughed and said the line that made my lawyer later cackle with joy. Karen said to break the damn thing. She's sick of looking at it. And my camera picked up every single word. Perfect audio, perfect video, timestamp, faces, logo, crowbar, everything. I stayed on my porch, fists tight, heart pounding, wanting nothing more than to run down there and embarrass them in front of the trees. But I remembered Tom's voice. Let them make mistakes. So I watched them rip the sign out, spit on it, and walk away like they'd just won something. I backed up the footage 3 times and emailed it to Tom with one sentence. It happened. He called immediately. "Ron, this is the best thing that could have happened. They narrated the crime for us." That afternoon I filed a complaint at the courthouse, uploaded the footage, and handed everything over. The clerk looked at the screen, eyes wide. They did this. On camera. "Oh yeah," I told her. "They think cameras are for other people. But HOA tyrants don't go down quietly. Not Karen." The next day she returned with the cops again, this time marching up my driveway like they'd rehearsed it. Karen had sunglasses, a clipboard, and a walk like she thought she was the governor. I stepped out with my phone recording. The first words out of Sergeant Dugan's mouth were, "We're here to resolve an escalating situation." Karen cut him off. "He is unlawfully blocking community access. We informed him. He refused." I held up my phone just enough for the camera to catch their faces. "Before we continue," I said, "I need both your names and badge numbers. You're giving orders on my land, and if the order is unlawful, I have the right to report it." That changed the atmosphere instantly. The young cop looked nervous. "Officer Myers, badge 614. Dugan glared, but finally said, "Sergeant Dugan, 1732. Then I pointed down the trail. "Did Karen tell you her men tore out my sign yesterday? Because I have it on video. With audio. Including one guy saying, 'Karen told us to break it.'" Karen stiffened. For the first time, the mask slipped. "That's out of context," she sputtered. "That's the thing about video," I said. "There isn't much context to twist." The older cop tried to salvage the situation, but he was drowning. "Regardless of what you think you recorded, take the sign down." "So, just to be clear," I said, speaking directly into my camera, "you're ordering me to surrender private property without a court order based solely on the HOA president's claim. Yes or no?" Dugan hesitated. Karen exploded. "You're just some bitter old man," she snapped, stepping forward. "You bought land next to the wrong community. HOA decides what happens here." I turned the camera so the mic was pointed right at her. "Note for the record. HOA president is attempting to direct law enforcement actions on private land." They left furious and empty-handed, dust rising behind their cars like smoke from a battlefield. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. 10 minutes later I got an anonymous email. The first word stopped my breath. "You're not crazy. She forged everything." A whistleblower from inside the HOA. They sent 5 attachments, fake easement documents, old maps edited last month, discrepancies in signatures, emails where Karen told the board to stick to the story, and finally an audio clip of Karen saying, "I don't care what the law says. That land is ours now." I forwarded everything to Tom. Before the files finished sending, he called. "Ron, it's over. She's done. I'm filing an injunction, a criminal referral, and a civil suit so big you can buy yourself a brand new truck when this ends." That evening I walked down the trail with a flashlight. The concrete chunk where my sign used to stand lay broken in the dirt. I lifted one piece, felt the weight of it, the stubbornness of it, the way they tried to rip control out of my hands. I set it down gently and whispered, "It's my land. It always was." Then I turned around, walked back home, locked the door, not out of fear, but because the fight was finally over. Karen didn't know it yet. Tomorrow she'd wake up thinking she still had power. But the truth had already stripped it away. And if there's one thing I learned through all of this, it's simple. Bullies win until someone finally stops backing up.